Hello, boys and girls, and welcome to Faces and Heels, your podcast for professional wrestling here on the KB Radio Network. Welcome to the reaction, the reviews, the ratings of WWE's premium live event, which took place in London, England. Money in the Bank, one of my favorite premium live events that WWE puts on every year. This event took place a little earlier in the day due to the fact of the time difference between us and London, England, but it was all good. It was too hot to go outside anyway, so staying inside and watching some pro wrestling was right up my alley. This was a card that I was excited for. Every match I was looking forward to. This was a pay-per-view or premium live event, should I say, that had a lot on the line. We had a world championship on the line, a women's tag team championship on the line, an intercontinental championship on the line, as well as the opportunity, a contract for a championship opportunity on the line for the men and the women. This is the 14th annual Money in the Bank premium live event. And as I said before, big fan of this event. Been loving it ever since. This was a match at WrestleMania. This was a WrestleMania match. They always had a Money in the Bank match at WrestleMania. Whereas, in case you don't know what Money in the Bank is, it's inside of this bag or this briefcase is a contract to challenge for any title in the WWE at any time in a calendar year. So we've had some epic cash-ins with this Money in the Bank contract in the past, and that's what fuels a lot of storylines as of late. You know, who's going to cash in? Who after they win? Who are they going to cash it in on? With so many titles now, it isn't just for the WWE Championship. It is for everything. You know, you have the heavyweight championship, you have the universal title, you have the US title, you have the intercontinental title. There's so much you can cash in on. But this was a stacked card that, I mean, could rival any big pay-per-view or premium live event that the WWE or any other promotion could put on. Money in the Bank pay-per-view, or I keep saying pay-per-view because I'm used to saying that. Premium live event had 7 matches, and they went as so. The first match of the evening or the afternoon, depending on when you watched Money in the Bank, we had the Money in the Bank ladder match for the men's championship match contract. In this match, you have Ricochet versus Shinsuke Nakamura versus LA Knight versus Santo Escobar versus Butch versus Damian Priest versus Logan Paul. 7 competitors. And I was looking forward to this. And just like everybody else, I wanted LA Knight to win this match. Going into this, I'm going to give my predictions of what I thought it was going to be and what they ended up being. My early prediction was Logan Paul was going to come out victorious in this match because Logan Paul, I'm not the biggest Logan Paul fan, but when it's inside of those ropes, it's something about Logan Paul. He has won me over. Very exciting, but he only shows up for the big money matches, you know, no pun intended. And it would have been interesting to see him with that briefcase pop up on Raw or SmackDown or even on a premium live event. It just steal the title from somebody. This was a pretty decent match, not as exciting as I had hoped it to be. To be honest with you, I really wasn't hoping for it because I'm looking at the competitors And aside from Ricochet and Santos Escobar, there really wasn't a lot of high flyers in this match. So I mean Butch, but Butch is more reckless abandonment. He don't care. I love Pete Dunne, aka Butch. I love him. This was his hometown. You know, he's the hometown kid in this match. And this match, it wasn't bad, but it wasn't great. I wanted it to be great, but ultimately everybody got their spot. I think LA Knight is over as over can be. I don't know why they haven't pulled the trigger on this yet, but LA Knight is super over. But ultimately, the winner of this match and the new Mr. Money in the Bank is Damian Priest. And I'm so cool with that. I love that Damian Priest has this briefcase because when you think about who can take the titles off of Roman, we haven't seen that matchup yet. And they have been building Damian Priest up for the past month or so to kind of be that guy. Now, and honestly, I'm here for it. I'm a fan of Damian Priest going back to NXT when he was called up to the main roster. He had a nice little run with the U.S. title, but nothing to, shake the pillars of heaven. I just, it was just me. And when he got with Judgment Day, it started off kind of bad. Of course, the whole concept of Judgment Day was kind of shaky at the start, but it has turned into something pretty excellent, and he has stood out a lot. The match between him and Seth Rollins, about 4 weeks ago on Raw, was close to 5 stars. Awesome match. Of course, that's Seth Rollins. He makes everybody look good. But Damian Priest is great. I'm glad that he got this, and the sky's the limit moving forward. The men's Money in the Bank match for the men's championship match contract gets 3.5 stars. It was a decent match. Wish it was better, but for who was in it and what they were doing, it was decent. They had some touchy spots there. They were kind of waiting. It was slower moving than I thought it should be. But when you look over who were participating in this match, it really shouldn't have shocked me. But it was decent. It was watchable. I did have fun with it. It gets 3.5 stars. Our next match was for the Women's Tag Team Championship, where the champions Ronda Rousey and Shayna Baszler take on Liv Morgan and Raquel. And this was an interesting story because Raquel and Liv were the Women's Tag Team Champions, but Liv Morgan got hurt and they had to relinquish it. So, with that being said, they never lost the titles. So this was kind of a catchback match between Ronda and Shayna. I had predicted that Ronda and Shayna would come out victorious in this match, but at the same time, I'm like, if you put these titles on these two, they need to have a long run. I mean, dominant run, because they're dominant people. They just took on I can't think of their names, the NXT Women's Championships, and they unified those championships just a couple of weeks ago. Well, I don't know. This is what gives me kind of a head scratcher of what's going on. Is Vince back in? Because this is a Vince move here. The match itself was mid, but they did something in the match that I was like, okay. Now I'm interested in it. And we see Shayna Baszler turn on Ronda Rousey. Can't even get her name out. And essentially cost them the tag team championships. It's unexplained. It was unprovoked. I don't know what happened, but it was I'm cool for the simple fact going forward. I want to see a Ronda Rousey versus Shayna Baszler match, but I'm confused at this. I'm like, what was the point of this? What's the point of the women's tag team championships? Can somebody please explain it to me? It's like hotcakes, man. It's they just flipping off the pan. It doesn't. Nobody is making a real run with those titles ever since the Iconics had it way back, and they're not even with the company no more. Nobody has had a long run with those belts, and it's really useless. To be, it's a useless title, but whatever. I'm not even excited that Raquel and Liv won the belts back. The story coming out of it is still Ronda and Shayna. So it's like, okay, that just goes to show you how much interest people have in that belt. But anywho's, for the tag team, for the women's tag team championship, we have new tag team champions, and it is none other than Liv Morgan and Raquel Rodriguez defeating Ronda Rousey and Shayna Baszler. This match gets 2.5 stars. Moving on. And this is I noticed this pretty early on. I'm like, man, this pay-per-view or premium live event, there I went again, is moving pretty quick. I mean, we're moving on to our third match, and it's not even 3 o'clock yet. It hasn't even been an hour, and we're at the start of the third match of this evening. And I'm not complaining. I'm not, trust me, I'm not, like, man, this went too fast. No. No, that's cool. But our next match was for the Intercontinental Champion, where Gunther puts up his Intercontinental Championship against Matt Riddle. And I was looking forward to this one as well, because Gunther has quickly became one of my favorite pro wrestlers overall today in modern times. I can watch Gunther against anybody. Ever since he was in NXT when he was Walter, I loved him there. When he moved up to the main roster and they changed his name to Gunther, which I was so confused and so upset about, because he's the same character. He's the same person. He just changed his name. And I couldn't stand that name. But it grew on me. He made that work. And he works with everybody. The match with him and Rey Mysterio a few months back, awesome. The match between him and Sheamus, 5 stars. The match between him, Sheamus, and Drew McIntyre at WrestleMania, awesome, 5 stars. He's no matter who he works with, it is a 4 to 5 star match. I kid you not. Go back and watch some of his matches. He is excellent. I don't care if it's on Premium Live Event, SmackDown, Raw, in your backyard. He puts on a clinic. And Matt Riddle, for better or worse, is a decent worker. I enjoy Matt Riddle. Not so much his promo work and whatnot, but he's good in the ring. And he is very entertaining, should I say. And this match did not disappoint. We had Gunther and Matt Riddle just go at it. Very exciting match. I think both were given just as much as they were taking. Didn't disappoint at no point throughout this match. Both are pros, and they gave us an excellent match where we saw Gunther retain the Intercontinental Championship by defeating Matt Riddle via submission. And the celebration didn't go too long, because we saw the return of Drew McIntyre. Yes, this was very exciting. I got goosebumps when he came back in, when he started walking down that ramp. I was super excited. We get the face-to-face, a little confrontation, and of course, a Claymore to Gunther, where we saw the visual of Drew McIntyre holding the Intercontinental Championship, setting up a showdown between these two behemoths. Good ending to a good match. I give the Intercontinental Championship match between Gunther and Matt Riddle 4 stars. I thought it was, up to this point, the best match of the card. That leads us to our next match, which was basically a legacy match where we had the son of Dusty Rhodes going up against the son of Rey Mysterio. Yes, Cody Rhodes versus Rey Mysterio with Rhea Ripley in his corner. And this was just a singles match that was set up about a month ago when Dominic Mysterio taunted Cody and basically just got under his skin, saying that he was a bad father and that he was never home with his daughter and all this other stuff. I mean, he was going in. He was going in. And Cody came back and said that, Rey Mysterio, he's made some big mistakes in his life, but one of them was having Dominic. They just went at it. This is a grudge match, and this was a decent match. I was looking for a little more out of it, maybe build towards something else down the line, but ultimately it was what it was. It was basically what was advertised. It was a decent match. Dominic really didn't. Dominic is more, he's just there for nuclear heat. He's not there to put on banger matches. He's there to really just get heat and elevate whoever he's across the ring from. And this was a smart move, and it didn't hurt anybody. Dominic is still Dominic, and Cody is just a nice win for him. And yes, Cody Rhodes did defeat Dominic Mysterio via pinfall. And after this match, it went kind of bizarre. It went weird when we got the biggest surprise of the night. John Cena comes out and revs up the crowd. I thought, as he was speaking, I thought he was going to retire, leave his boots in the ring, because he kind of hinted to that. And he didn't really do that. Of course, he was interrupted by Grayson Waller. But before he was interrupted, John Cena was putting over the crowd, saying how lively they are and that they deserve a WrestleMania. And when I thought about it, WrestleMania hasn't been in London. Actually, WrestleMania has never been out of the United States as far as I can remember. I think in Toronto one year. Yeah, well, was it? It could have been, but regardless, never across the pond, as they like to say. And so, yeah, that would be cool, because that crowd is very energetic, and I think, I really think this was a shot at AEW, because AEW has a pay-per-view coming up in London, I think in Wembley Stadium, either next month or the week after, or the month after. I don't even remember, because I don't follow AEW like that. It's hard for me to watch AEW. That's why you never hear me review it. Every now and then I will watch something, but it's few and far between. But I know they have a big show in London coming up. So with this, having John Cena, their biggest star, come out, grab up the crowd, say, oh yeah, we need to have WrestleMania here in London, and all this here is like, wow. They straight poo-pooed. It's without announcing anything. They just straight up pooed on whatever AEW was trying to do at Wembley Stadium. But regardless, like I said, Grayson Waller came out, said, oh, y'all don't need a WrestleMania, need to go to Australia, which is where he's from, of course, and had a confrontation with John Cena, beat him up a little bit. John Cena caught him hit the F5 and walked out the ring. That's all John Cena can do at this point. He is done. If you saw that WrestleMania match with Austin Theory, John Cena is done. That's why I thought he was going to leave his boots in the ring on this one. But it was a nice little segment, something to kind of let us catch our breath for our next match, which is the women's Money in the Bank ladder match for a women's championship contract. In this match, you have Zelina Vega versus Becky Lynch versus Zoe Stark versus Bayley versus Io Sky versus Trish Stratus in her first ladder match in her career. This is her first time involved in a ladder match. I was super excited for this. This had the makings of being the match of the night, and it didn't disappoint. This had all the spots. The crazy thing after watching this match, first thought to run through my mind, well, they put on a better match than the men. And to be honest with you, it's not a shot. I was expecting him to put on a better match than the men. But I mean, as far as how clean the spots were, they had a couple of botches. It wasn't A+ there, but the spots flowed. They flowed into their moves. You know, they were telling stories in here. You have the conflict between Becky Lynch, Trish Stratus, and Zoe Stark. They're in this program where they're beefing with one another. You have Bayley and Io Sky, who are in a treacherous relationship, should I say, within Judgment Day, within Damage Control. You know, because Bayley has cost Io Sky a couple of opportunities at the women's championship on 2 or 3 separate occasions there, you know, and so you got that playing out. And the lone wolf here is Zelina Vega. And my initial thoughts, my initial prediction was going to be Zelina Vega, because she's the only one that's not in a quote unquote beef with anybody else involved in this match. And so I like, okay, this could be an opportunity for her to take advantage of it. And she tried. It wasn't like she wasn't trying. Everybody got their moment of shine in this match, and I was really, really impressed. Loved the spot with Zelina Vega doing the little sunset power bomb or whatever it was on Zoe Stark off the top of the ladder onto another ladder. Awesome spot. Io Sky getting up the ladder, almost getting the briefcase, and Bayley pushing her off the ladder. And at that moment, I was like, oh, man. Oh, I was so mad. I got mad. And early on in the match, we saw that Trish Stratus and Zoe Stark was trying to handcuff Becky Lynch to the ropes or somewhere where she was incapacitated. Well, they couldn't do it, but she still had one of the cuffs on her wrist. At which point, Becky Lynch is trying to climb the ladder. Bayley's on the other side. They're fighting with each other and so on and so forth. And Io Sky comes and takes the handcuffs and handcuff Becky Lynch to Bayley through the ladder where they could not go up the ladder. And what made it so beautiful, Io Sky climbed over Bayley. That's what makes it so important. She climbed over Bayley, stepped on Bayley to go up the ladder and retrieve the briefcase, making her Miss Money in the Bank, our winner, Io Sky. And it couldn't have happened to a better woman. She truly deserves it. I thought this was an awesome match. Great spots, great storytelling throughout, and ultimately the winner is a winner we can cheer for, get behind, and believe that she was able to win this match. The women's Money in the Bank ladder match gets 4 stars. Awesome, awesome match. I can't say no more about it. It blew the man's money in the bank match out of the water. So good job for those six female wrestlers who put on a show. That leads us to our World Heavyweight Championship bout, where we have the rematch from what year that was? About 5 years ago, maybe. The first ever WWE Universal Championship match. This was the match that was going to crown the newly formed Universal Championship match, and it was Seth freaking Rollins versus Finn Balor. I think he was the Demon then, Demon Finn Balor, and they had a banger of a match. Whereas Finn Balor came out victorious and became the inaugural Universal Champion, the first ever Universal Champion. But the next night he had to relinquish the title because Seth Rollins injured him in that match. And from that moment on, Finn Balor has had an awesome career. He's done some great things, but he never got to that point. And I don't even think he had gotten another opportunity up to that point. I think he wrestled. Yeah, he did. He wrestled Roman Reigns, I think last year for the championship, and of course he lost. But other than that, he hasn't had another opportunity at the heavyweight championship or the Universal Championship or the WWE Championship. So we come full circle to this match, and my God, you talk about looking forward to a match. Two of the best workers, not only in the WWE, but in wrestling, period. I'll pick a promotion. I was beating on the drum of Gunther earlier, how he's the best professional wrestler in the world. These two gentlemen, Seth Rollins and Finn Balor, are the two best workers in the world. You can make an argument for Daniel Bryan. You can make an argument for AJ Styles. And I wouldn't fight you on it, but I can watch Seth Rollins go against anybody. Like I said before, I think I said it earlier. I know I was thinking about it earlier. Seth Rollins made The Miz look good in the match they had about a month or so ago. It was a banger. The Miz. That's how good of a worker Seth Rollins is. But now we arrive at this World Heavyweight Championship match where Seth Rollins is putting up his championship against Finn Balor. And this was a decent match. Once again, didn't set the world on fire like I thought it was going to do, but it was good. Wasn't mad at it per se. I was just expecting more. But for what I got, I did enjoy. This was a nice back and forth match. Seth Rollins selling the ribs that has been set up for about a month now from when Finn Balor attacked him on Raw a few weeks back. And it was a nice back and forth between these two superstars. As the match went on and on, you really didn't know who was going to win this match. And that's what you look for when you watch a wrestling match. I can't stand watching a match and knowing the outcome before they come out and even take the ring. I want to be surprised. I want to enjoy it. And I didn't know going into this. Initially, I predicted that Seth Rollins would retain, and with the help of, oddly enough, Damian Priest, who came out in the middle of this match and just holding the briefcase, now that adds a different element to this match. Now you're like, okay, is he going to cash in? And who is he going to cash in on? Yeah. Is he going to cash in on Seth Rollins? Is he going to cash in and make this a triple threat? Is Finn Balor going to win this match? And then Damian Priest cashes in and throws a monkey wrench in the play. It pretty much leading to the destruction of Judgment Day. I don't know. This had me scratching my head. But we saw that Finn Balor had got the upper hand. He had started just owning Seth Rollins. I mean, he was monkey stomping him literally throughout the match, and he got the upper hand, and he was about to go for the coup de grace, and Damian Priest steps up as if he was going to interfere, which draws the attention of Finn Balor, who was on the top rope, and he's like, "What are you doing?" You know, he's like, "What are you?" It was that look. Finn Balor sold that perfectly. It was just a beautiful look. You're like, "Wait, what are you doing?" And by the time he got his focus back in line, Seth Rollins moved out the way, hit the stomp, and won the match, retaining his heavyweight championship. And there's a little argument after the match with Finn Balor and Damian Priest, of course, but that's where they leave it. I guess we'll find out more about this on Raw moving forward. And how is this storyline going to go? Is Damian Priest focused solely on Seth Rollins, or is this a red herring and the field is wide open? I wouldn't be mad if he cashed in on Gunther. You know, I wouldn't be mad if he cashed in on Roman. Anybody at this point, it's wide open for him. But this is very, very interesting going forward. This is why I love Money in the Bank, because you just don't know. So that leads us to the main event of the evening. And let's be honest, this is what we came to see, the Bloodline. And this has been the greatest storyline in pro wrestling I have ever seen. This storyline, I don't know who's writing. I don't know who's behind this concept, who is really spearheading all of this. I don't know. If these guys are putting it on themselves, they deserve Emmys. I mean, this is they are really killing the game right now with this storyline. Just when you think it's getting lame, where else can they go with it? They go somewhere else with it. And it's so exciting. In our main event, we have the Bloodline Civil War tag team match between the Usos of Jimmy and Jay going up against the Tribal Chief, the undisputed WWE Universal Champion. Is he really undisputed now that there's a heavyweight championship now? I gotta look into that. But anyways, Roman Reigns. Yes, there's some dissension in the ranks here, and I love this turn. I love this turn. And the reason being, it isn't just that the Usos left the Bloodline. It's not about them hating Roman Reigns. They love Roman Reigns, and they still would acknowledge Roman Reigns as their tribal chief. But there are other elements that they feel that is driving Roman Reigns in the wrong direction, they feel. And so that's the whole point, because that sets up maybe down the line, this can still go on. They can get back together with the Bloodline and continue to run the WWE, which they have over the past 2 years, 2 or 3 years. And this has been so exciting. And speaking of past 2 to 3 years, we haven't seen Roman Reigns get pinned or submitted in about 2 to 3 years. I think the last time he was pinned was December of 2019. Yeah, that was the last time he actually got pinned, and ironically, it was Baron Corbin. Baron Corbin was the last person to pin Roman Reigns. That being said, we get into this match, and what a match. What a match. This was storytelling to the highest level. These 4 men got into that ring and told a story. It was clearly an episode of TV. This was the longest match of the night. It was over 30 minutes long, and it needed to be. Actually, I wanted it to go another 30. This was one heck of a match. Once again, I honestly went into this match and didn't know who was going to win. I, you know, common sense would say, "Oh, it's Roman. It's Roman and Solo. Who's going to win this match?" And I don't know. I just had this feeling going in that I think the Usos might go over here. I really, I had a feeling. Even though I had predicted that it was going to be Roman, I went with the safe bet. This match had it all. It had all the spots. It told the story. My God, that pop, when Roman stacked the Usos with the help of Solo, of course, stacked and pinned or attempted to pin the Usos, and they both kicked out. That pop in that arena sent so many chills through my spine. I literally teared up. I mean, there's moments in wrestling that I can remember where the pop really got me on an emotional level. It was when the Hardys returned at WrestleMania. That was one. The pop when The Rock came out to host, announced that he was the host of WrestleMania in, oh Lord, what WrestleMania that was. Whatever. That's when him and John Cena went to beefing. It was another one. I can't even remember. Oh, when Eddie Guerrero, the late great Eddie Guerrero, beat Brock Lesnar and won the WWE Championship for the first time. What a pop. And this one, honestly, is up there on the list. That pop, because you knew it was over. I was like, oh, it's over. It started getting my microphone and everything together, got my notes together, and I'm like, it's over. I started to turn my head, and as soon as I started to turn my head, it went 1, 2, and poof, they both picked their shoulders up, and I was like, wait, what? It was, oh my God, and that arena went nuts. Solo attempting to send Jimmy through the table, but Jimmy moving at the last minute. The back and forth with Jay and Roman, and that's where it all started. If you can remember, this is where the bloodline began, with Roman and Jay going at it back and forth for the championship, and being in an I Quit match where Jay would not quit, and Jimmy came out, and the only way that Roman won that match, he got Jay, put Jay in the that little chokehold move that he do, and told Jimmy, "I'm not stopping unless you quit." And he just quit, and they submitted to him and acknowledged him as the tribal chief, and that's where it all began. And it was poetic for this to come to this moment when, once again, they go back and forth. There's a Superman punch that leads into a super kick that leads into a spear. 1, 2, Jay kicks out, but when he kicks out, he throws his forearm up and low blows Roman. He low blows him. That gives Jimmy and Jay the opportunity to super kick him to next week. And Jay comes off the top rope with the frog splash. 1, 2, 3. For the first time in almost 3 years, Roman Reigns took a pin. Oh my God. I mean, talking about it now, I'm still getting goosebumps. This was epic storytelling. This is why I cannot stop watching wrestling. I have tried to stop for years, and every time I try to stop, something come along where I'm like, okay, I'm gonna hang on a little while longer, and I've been hanging on for about 40 years now. I just love this, and this is the greatest thing in pro wrestling. The Bloodline Civil War tag team match between our tribal chief, the WWE Universal Champion Roman Reigns and Solo Sikoa falling to Jimmy and Jay, the Usos, gets 5 stars. Excellent, excellent match. I mean, that was the best way to cap off this pay-per-view. This was a real good premium live event. Real good. None of the matches were dull. Now, that women's tag team match was probably the worst match out of all of these matches, but even that had story. That had something to keep your curiosity going. You know, all of these matches were good in their own right, and I enjoyed this premium live event. Money in the Bank is now in the books. Now the big question is, going forward, what do we got going forward? What's next for the Bloodline? Now that Jimmy and Jay have defeated the Tribal Chief. Who is the Tribal Chief? Is it Jay now? Is it going to be Solo? Is Roman going to turn on Solo? Is Roman going to, what is he going to do next? What is next? I'm excited. I'm excited for that. Finn Balor is their dissension in the Judgment Day. Judgment Day didn't have a good day. Other than Damian Priest, who is Mr. Money in the Bank now. What's next for him? What's next for Io Sky going forward? Who will she cash in on? Will it be Asuka, which is the match that everybody has been clamoring for? Or will it be Rhea Ripley? Yeah, I don't know. I would prefer Asuka. That's the one. That's the moneymaker for me. That's the one I would like to see her challenge for. And what's next for Cody Rhodes? Is Cody Rhodes going to turn his attention back to Roman Reigns now that he's a wounded animal now? His family has disbanded. There's dissension in the ranks. He's vulnerable. Now's the time. We'll see. We are a month away from SummerSlam, which is the next premium live event, which will take place on August the 5th, live from Detroit, Michigan. All signs are pointing towards an awesome premium live event. But to recap, Money in the Bank that took place today on July the 1st, live from London, England. Damian Priest defeated Butch, LA Knight, Logan Paul, Ricochet, Santos Escobar, and Shinsuke Nakamura to become Mr. Money in the Bank. Liv Morgan and Raquel Rodriguez defeated Ronda Rousey and Shayna Baszler to become the new women's tag team champions. Gunther defeated Matt Riddle to retain his WWE Intercontinental Championship, only to be confronted by Drew McIntyre after the match. Cody Rhodes defeated Dominic Mysterio by pinfall, after which we got an appearance, a surprise appearance from John Cena, where he F5 Grayson Waller. Whoop-de-doo. But we also had Io Sky defeating Bayley, Becky Lynch, Trish Stratus, Zelina Vega, and Zoe Stark to become Miss Money in the Bank. Seth freaking Rollins defeated Finn Balor to retain his World Heavyweight Championship. And in the Bloodline Civil War Tag Team match, the Usos defeated the Bloodline, which is Roman Reigns and Solo. What did you think of this premium live event? Did you enjoy Money in the Bank? I absolutely enjoyed it. I'll go back and watch this again, which I probably will. It was that good. This was a really, really good show. But I would like to know what you thought of the show. Did you enjoy the show? What was your favorite match? And what do you think is next for the Bloodline and everybody else who came out victorious in tonight's premium live event? email the show, kbradiopodcast@gmail.com. Also, look me up on Twitter at KB Radio Network and on other social media platforms. Just look up the KB Radio Network. Also, look up the KB Radio Network channel on YouTube. Subscribe to the channel and give this video a like if you will. Don't forget about the 5 stars, the reviews, and sharing this show if you're listening on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, or wherever you are currently listening to Faces and Heels, brought to you by the KB Radio Network. Everybody, thank you for joining me for this recap, this review, this reaction, this this breakdown of WWE's premium live event, Money in the Bank. Can't wait to speak to you in a few weeks, couple of weeks, for SummerSlam. That'll be August the 5th. Until then, I want you all to enjoy your summer, your 4th of July weekend. Happy 4th of July to everybody. And that's the bottom line.